Good afternoon, everyone. I was a little bit late. I was sitting right here, and I usually can't stand watching the time. The what's the word I want? Countdown. The countdown. I usually come on early, but I was fiddling around. So I'll give it a couple of minutes for people to come in. But I know a lot of people will probably listen to this on the replay in their own time. I need to put a playlist together like Cricket did for me. So people that want to listen to the whole previous chapters. When I was on with, I think, like maybe both. When I had my interview with Ben Bacon Bits, and I was on with Selfless Self and Eric Rader, we were talking about how much we'd gotten through, and I didn't realize we're actually about halfway because there's so much crap back here, glossaries, other books you can read. I think. Let's see. Where's the actual end of the book? Well, that's appendix. Dianetics for the Future Act. We'll probably read that. So, yeah. So, we're about halfway. That's good. This isn't a long one of the long chapters, so it shouldn't take very long. So, these are my computer glasses, and these are my reading glasses. The computer is just far enough away that my bifocals, I can use my bifocals a bit. Then you got to look up my nose. And then so the other one. So I pulled out some old readers I was going to donate. I had a whole bag and found a pair that worked. These things are so janky that I had to take a black marker to them because they were falling apart. All just, matter of fact, I won't put them in the bag for donation. I didn't realize these must have been one of my favorite pair because it looks like I wore them a lot. So I got 2 people in. I'll give it another minute or two for people to get the notification, and then I'll pop on. I know I just got done watching 2 Aaron videos on Emily and Danny Masterson, and then I finally got caught up on Scooter Report a bit, and I watch everything on at least 1.25 or more. And 1.25 is usually okay. It doesn't make somebody sound like chipmunk. But you can watch it in a little bit less time. There's so much to watch out there, you guys. Hey, Scooter Mama, I was talking about you. I just watched your last Scooter Report. I didn't get it all done yet. I had to log off to come on. So I'll have to finish watching. I heard what you said about me. Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't going to let them make me mad and make me curse because that's not the point. He was an idiot. He made me feel exactly like the guy that sent me the emails. Just, they were idiotic. Somebody spouting nothing but bullcrap that didn't make any sense. So I couldn't take him seriously. And he tried coming in. Oh, you wanted to see, oh, you did get to see what he looked like. If you go back a few minutes, I put the timestamp. I went back to look to see where he came from. And he came from behind me. He skateboarded across to where the students were going to come across at the light. But he diagonally came across the intersection right at me, then went around me, and then started. I don't know what he was doing, but he was an idiot. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, he was an idiot. Either just wanted to be on camera or, they've love bombed him and given him some free courses in an air conditioned room. Because, man, he was just so all over the place. You couldn't even have a decent conversation with him. It was ridiculous. I'm going to start on in because we're almost 5 minutes in. So this isn't a hugely long chapter. So, oh, my eyes are a bit blurry. Oh, okay, let me try that again. Drink of water first. You know what I didn't do? I'll do it later. Okay. And I've got my mascot sitting here asleep on my lap. I figure if I keep her right here, she won't do what she did last night. Oh my gosh. They were having the WWE of dog fights right over here while I was trying to talk. All right, so I'd like to read a little bit of the last chapter of what we were reading. So we just read Keying in the Engram, and actually I don't need to read any of that. That was just how keying in the Engram in real speech is re-stimulating a trauma. That's pretty much what that means. He just likes to change words. So Preventive Dianetics, and I'm reading this first time with you guys too. There are many branches in Dianetics. It is actually a family of sciences covered by a single set of axioms. Am I saying that word right? AXIOMS. I've only ever read it, never heard anybody say it. It might take a while for people to show up. There's a lot of activity in Chicago. Okay, that's fine. They can always watch it on the replay. So am I saying that word right? So let me start over. Starting over. Preventive Dianetics. There are many branches in Dianetics. It is actually a family of sciences covered by a single set of axioms. There is, for instance, educational Dianetics, which contains the body of organized knowledge necessary to train minds to their optimum efficiency and to an optimum of skill and knowledge in the various branches of the works of man. And there is a political Dianetics, which embraces the field of group activity and organization to establish the optimum conditions and processes of leadership and intergroup relations. And again, there is medical Dianetics, and there is, Again, there is medical Dianetics, and there is social Dianetics. There are many such subdivisions, which are sciences within themselves, guided by their own axioms. Now, as I'm reading that, this is what I'm thinking. First, he's making it sound like there's these sciences that he didn't just make up in his head. That there's this whole set of sciences and Dianetics that he's just giving you the information. And then secondly, I looked at it as somebody then reading this or being taught this and thinking, oh, well, this sounds great. This sounds like I want to be part of this. You know, I want to be what was it you say? Oh, to train minds to their optimum efficiency and to an optimum of skill and knowledge. I mean, that would sound great to me if I didn't know what I know. Some of it back here didn't make a lot of sense, but there are parts of it that just sounded interesting. In the 90s, when me and my husband saw the commercials and thought, well, we were looking for a church in California. We just got there. And we heard about this and we thought, oh, you know what? Studying science and stuff sounds really great. So, I can see how people got sucked in, is the point. And then once you're sucked in, then they're going to, it's a slow burn. They love bomb you. They tell you you're great. Take these courses. They start out free or less expensive, and then once you're in, then it's pressure. Then it's constant pressure, constant trauma re-stimulation and control. And so it's hard to get out. So people are like, how can they be part of this cult? That's how. And that's why we're reading this, to find out why. So just in that one paragraph, they made Dianetics sound completely awesome. We are dealing in this volume actually with basic Dianetics and Dianetic therapy as applied to the individual. This is the most immediate, important, and the most valuable to the individual. But no book on Dianetic therapy would be complete without a mention of a branch of Dianetics which some say is even more important to the race than the therapy. This is Preventive Dianetics. If one knows the cause of something, he can usually prevent the cause from going into effect. The discovery and proof of Ronald Ross that the malaria germ was carried by the mosquito makes it possible to prevent the disease from committing the ravage it once enjoyed at the expense of mankind. Similarly, when one knows the cause of aberration and psychosomatic illness, he can do a great deal toward preventing them. While preventative Dianetics is a large subject, are you kidding me right now? Daisy, stop. No, I am so sorry. She decided to get the squeaker toy out. She never does. Can you guys hear that? The squeaky? If you can't, I'll leave her be. If you can, I'm gonna go steal it. Let me know. If it's annoying, I'll go get it. Maybe she stopped. Sorry about that, guys. While preventative Dianetics is a large subject infiltrating the fields of industry and agriculture and other specialized activities of man, its basic principle is the scientific fact that engrams can be held to minimal content or prevented entirely with large gains in favor of mental health and physical well-being as well as social adjustment. Again, she's looking at me, she knows. Again, he's making this. I need something to throw at her. It's not going to hurt. Stop. So again, the way that he words this, he makes it sound like it's all over the place when this was literally the first time it had ever been introduced. So he's already got people snowed. Okay, good. Snowed, thinking this is a big deal. It's a big new therapy that is everywhere in, what did he say? Fields, infiltrating fields of industry and agriculture and other specialized activities of man. And in 1950, where would you go to investigate this as a common person? I could see a journalist or somebody like that being able to do some sort of real good investigative work on it and check it out. But just let's say back then in the 50s, you had a housewife that had some real mental anguish or was alone a lot during the day, or things like that, anything like that. And they read this and they think, oh, this isn't new. I just found out about it. This isn't new. He's just imparting this new therapy Dianetics into this book. And it only took 3 months after it was published for the world to understand it was total bullcrap. Liverpool, hi Scouts Mouse. Awesome. We haven't gotten very far because I've been talking a lot on the way that he's wording this stuff, especially in this chapter, is he makes it sound like it's this all over the world being done therapy, new therapy. It's this new thing. It's not new. It's not just something he made up. And so you would fall for that. He even had a psychiatrist sign off on it and help. I think he may have helped financially also. But it only took 3 months for them to figure out it was bullcrap. So I talk about that. If you go back, he was a salesman. Yeah, he was a used car salesman. For sure. Totally. Aleister Crowley hated him in letters, and he never even met him. Just from, and Jack Parsons wrote him glowing letters about L. Ron Hubbard. But still, Aleister Crowley knew, he said, that guy is a confidence trickster. He didn't want him to have anything to do with his people. that were following his rules. But anyway, I digress. So, I mean, right there, like I said, I can understand how people get involved in this. The only difference is now, in the last 20 years, the internet, the social media is getting out there. They can't pull new people in because they can investigate. They can go look it up. They can find people like us talking about it, talking about the abuses and how this doesn't work. And you can find the history on the internet of L. Ron Hubbard, the shyster. So I try to look at it as a 1950s person. I try to look at it as what he's doing, and then we can look at it as now, with what we know now. That's where he learned magic. Scientology is based in the occult. Postulates are basically spells. It's dark to its core. I did a video on that recently about Ron Hubbard and black magic. He did ritual magic. They didn't do actual spells. They did rituals. And that his son even said Scientology is black magic slowly. So watch that video. It's only 11 minutes long. I also, a little while back, did a history on how he created Dianetics, what happened when it came out, and how it turned into Scientology. And that was a really good discussion. So go check those out. All right. So where were we? Well, preventative. The engram is actually a very simple thing. It is a moment when the analytical mind is shut down by physical pain, drugs, or other means, and the reactive bank is open to the receipt of a recording. To us, that's our subconscious. When that recording has verbal content, it becomes most severely aberrative. When it contains antagonism on an emotional level, it becomes very destructive. When it is intensely pro-survival in content, it is most certainly capable of thoroughly deranging a life. I have an Aleister Crowley set of tarot cards that beautifully illustrate. Oh, and there was a card in his tarot, I believe, that was a little bit different than regular decks. My memory, if you don't know me, I have fibromyalgia, and it messes with my memory, and I forget like specific things. I can remember somebody's whole life story and forget a date or a name. Anyway. But yeah, I didn't delve all the way into the black magic. There was so much. I hope I put it in there. I think I did. The link to the interview of John Atack that I got a lot of my information from. There's a lot more. And his book on Amazon that I can read for free because I have Kindle Unlimited. I don't know. And I went to the black magic chapter. So I got a lot of my information there, but I couldn't put everything in. It would have been an hour-long video. So let's keep going on. So thoroughly deranging the life. So when it is intensely pro-survival in content, it is most certainly capable of thoroughly deranging a life. The engram, amongst other things, determines fate. The engram says that a man has to fail to survive, and so he contrives numerous ways to fail. The engram commands that he can only experience pleasure amongst the members of another race, and so he goes amongst them and abandons his own. It commands that he must kill to live, and so he kills. And far more subtly, the engram weaves its way from incident to incident to cause the catastrophe which it dictates. Oh, Lolo, yeah, you understand. A recent case was plotted out to have actually gone to enormous lengths to break his arm. For with a broken arm, he receives the sympathy without the engram said he could not live. The plot covered 3 years and half a hundred. Wait a minute. The plot covered 3 years and half a hundred apparently innocent incidents, which, when netted together, told the story. Again, he's got to make something longer than that. He could have just said 50. Netted together, told the story. Okay. The accident-prone person is a case where the reactive mind commands accidents. He is a serious menace in any society, for his accidents are reactively intentional, and they include the destruction of other people who are innocent. I'll mention that in a minute. Drivers with several accidents on their records are generally accident prone. This guy, I swear, this is such mumbo jumbo, but he makes it sound. He makes people believe it. They have engrams which command them to have accidents. When you have run a case, just one, you will see how thoroughly and maliciously disposed this moronic thing, the reactive mind, can be about such things. Cleared drivers could have accidents only through two sources: A, mechanical failure, and, more important, B, because of accident-prone people. So if you're clear, then you'll never have a car accident because you can command space, time, energy, and matter. Scout's house. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, though. He makes it sound good. That's the only thing in his life that he did well, is he could convince people. That was it. He failed at everything else. He even failed at this. If you watch the history, 3 months after this was published, the world turned on it. Okay, so clear drivers. The terrible and awesome death toll taken by our automotive transport is almost all attributable to reactive mind driving rather than learned response driving. Oh, he's the expert on drivers now. The apathy of this society is measured by the fact that it does not act severely to prevent all automotive accidents. Just one broken windshield is one too many. Now that an answer is to hand, action can take place. So he's going to change the world. He's going to make no more accidents. Yeah, they're really not. I mean, we know that it's not a real thing. That reminds me, I have to order our new dash cam because my husband drives 5 days a week to Waco, which is an hour. I go 3 days a week to Austin, and it's 1,000 miles a week. And these drivers cannot drive. So I need my dad. The one we have now died. I think the heat killed it. They never give me this much trouble. Go lay down. Urgh. She doesn't believe me. She knows I'm not mean. Where was I? Sorry, guys. So where were we? We were saving the world. Let's see. The apathy of this society is measured by the fact that it does not act severely to. Oh, I read this, to all automotive accidents. The aberration, in thousands of ways, complicates the lives of others, Preventive Dianetics makes it possible to sort out the aberree who is accident prone and bar him from activities which will menace others. This is one general aspect of preventative Dianetics. That the aberrees so isolated can be cleared is another type of problem. The other general aspect of preventative Dianetics, and the more important, is the prevention of engrams and modification of content, both on the social and the individual scale. On the social scale, one would delete from the society the causes of aberration in that society, as if he were deleting engrams from the individual. In the same way, one can prevent the social causes from occurring in the first place. In the individual, the prevention of engrams is a very easy matter. Once the source of aberration and illness is known, one can prevent the source from entering a life. If the source has been known to enter, one can prevent the next step, the key in. Of course, the final answer in all this is therapy to a clearing. But there is one aspect of the source which is not so answered. The child cannot be safely cleared until he is at least 5 years of age, and current practice is to place this figure at about 8 years. Improved address to the problem may reduce this figure, but it cannot be reduced below the age of speech unless someone in the future invents a catalyst which simply clears out the reactive mind without further treatment. Not as wild as it may sound. Yeah, okay. The only way that I guess that would be telepathy. Not sure. But just now, and probably for a long time to come, the child will remain a problem to Dianetics. Childhood illness is chiefly derived from engrams. It is most likely to be severe before the age of speech and the number of deaths within the first year of life. While medicine may reduce them, it yet is a serious thing. Is he trying to say children are getting ill and passing away because of engrams? I get that he said that illness is caused by it. So if you believe as a Scientologist that childhood illness is caused by engrams and not a virus, then you're obviously not going to treat your child. That makes no sense. Let me get caught up here. Oh, you said something earlier. So Scouse said, I feel so... Oh, just let me put it up. Who read this garbage? The damage or must have on developing brains. Yes. And we know that Scientologists don't treat their children as children, don't nurture and take care of them the way they should. Oh, okay. Thank you. It sounds like they've finally calmed down. They'll do it for a little while and then they'll chill. I have very lazy dogs. So, this is why I think we see the Scientologists get so sick. Like, oh, you'll have to remind me of her name. The last one that unalived herself that they're in court for, who was so much in pain that she wanted to drop the body. And this Dr. Minkoff, a licensed doctor, diagnosed her with Lyme disease when all it was I think it was an ovarian cyst that could have been easily removed, plus other things. And told the short story she died of cancer, or she thought she had cancer. So, because they think, now we're understanding more and more, not just that they don't believe in psychiatry or psych meds, they really don't believe in medicine in general. That's why none of them get medical care. And they can't complain about an illness or a pain like their back or their heart or their leg. They have to hide it because if you're clear, you're not supposed to have those things. So now I'm understanding more and more why they, Sea Organ staff and even public, don't really get medical care. They believe it all derives from engrams and that they can just go in and do Scientology and get cleared and it'll go away. Well, when it doesn't, how do they rationalize that to themselves? This is probably where we get a lot of under the radar Scientologists, because they're like, okay, this isn't working for me. Either they take it personally and they tell themselves, well, it's just me, I'm not doing it right. Because look at all these other people. Look at these OT8s that can, control their whole environment. But they're not allowed to ask them about it. That's taboo, because you could get pneumonia and die if you find out about confidential levels you haven't done yet. So it's really a good setup so that people don't talk to each other. They're not allowed to talk about their pains, their illnesses, none of that. And I think that's why so many, even celebrities with a lot of money, are getting cancer and dying, because they're not getting the right health care. So hang on. That stuff is the bomb. My meds give me dry mouth. And I'm just getting it because I'm reading. It's an enzyme, biotin, that coats the inside of your mouth. It's not like what water really doesn't work. And it works. Just those little bit works. It's awesome. Immediately. I usually do it before I come on, though. Let me see if I've missed anything. Oh, I have. Auditing a 5-year-old child, asking inappropriate, abusive things. Just wow. But yet, Scientologists say there are no children in Scientology. Yeah. Whitney Mills. Yeah, Whitney Mills. That poor woman. If she would have just got a doctor, a real doctor, she would be fine. Just fine. Tone 40 all the way. No illness, higher IQ, cause over life. Yep. You're really, are you a previous member, Scout's Mouse, or you just did a deep dive like I have? Because my problem is I can't remember those little things like that to remember. I listened to them and I've heard it. All right, let's keep moving. So we got a few pages. Where were we? The childhood illness. Oh. All right, here we go. Taking the key in first, what we would call restimulation. There are two things which can be done to prevent it. The child can be given a calm and harmonious atmosphere which is not restimulative, or if the child appears to be restimulated despite kindly treatment, he can be removed to another environment which will be minus the two most certain sources, his father and mother. So he blames everything on the father and mother no matter what. So then he makes parents feel like it's their fault if they get sick. And which will contain a source of affection. The test of whether or not a child is restimulated pre-speech or post-speech is very simple. Is he susceptible to illness? Does he eat well? Is he nervous? There can be actual physical things wrong with the child, of course, but they are quickly established by a doctor, and they lie in the category of physical derangement. So, where in Scientology would you find, let me find it. Where'd it go? Well, oh, here it is. An environment which will contain a source of affection. There's nowhere to take that child to for that. Quarrels with the hearing of a child, loud noises, frantic conduct, drooling sympathy when he is sick or hurt. These are some of the key in catalog. Okay, so now he's saying sympathy when he's sick is a key in, so don't do it. He's taken all the humanity out of parents and children. These make a child ill physically and aberrated mentally by keying in his engrams, and nobody can say how many he has. The primary source of prevention lies in the field, oddly enough, of the regard in which another person is held, his mother. Yeah, this is where he got his stuff from Freud. It is not biological love which makes mother play such an enormous role in the life of a human being. It is the simple mechanical truth that mother is a common denominator to all of the child's prenatals. The prenatal engram is far more serious than the postnatal. Any such engram a person has contains his mother or his mother and another person, but always his mother. Therefore, her voice, the things she says, the things she does, have an enormous and vast effect upon the unborn child. It is not true that emotion gets into a child through the umbilical cord, as people always suppose the moment they hear of prenatals. Emotion comes on another, more electrical than physical, type of wave. What type is a problem for structure? Therefore, anyone who is emotional around a pregnant woman is communicating that emotion straight into the child. And mother's emotions is, in the same manner, so conducted to his reactive mind. So then the only way to prevent this is to take the mom when she gets pregnant and put her in a quiet, dark room and leave her there. It's about the only way to not cause problems for the child and what they're saying. Whether or not the unborn child is unanalytical has no bearing on his susceptibility to engrams. The prenatal engram is just another engram. Only when the child is actually struck or hurt by high blood pressure or other sources of injury does he become unconscious. When he becomes unconscious, he receives all the percepts and words in the area of the mother as engrams. Analytical power has nothing to do with engrams. If the child is unanalytical, this does not predispose him to engrams. If the child is unconscious or hurt, it does. The presence or absence of analytical power has nothing to do with whether or not engrams are received. Yeah, the silent burst. We had a whole chapter we read on that. This is kind of just after that. Yeah, we read that 2 chapters ago. So, yeah. So I get the silent birth, but he's talking silent pregnancy. Because he even said that they can have memories of being the egg or the sperm all the way back, because he says it's held in the cells. That's why he's saying if they don't have analytical power, brain power, they can still get an engram because it's contained in the cells. Yeah, we read about that too. All right. Morning sickness, coughing, all monologuing, mother talking to herself. Street noises, household noises, etc., are all communicated to the unconscious child when he is injured, and the child is very easily injured. He is not protected by formed bones, and he has no mobility. He is there when something strikes him or presses him. His cells and organs are injured. A simple experiment to demonstrate how mobility influences this is to lie down in bed and place one's head on a pillow. Then have somebody lean a hand on one's forehead. As there is no mobility, the pressure of the hand is far stronger than it would be if a hand were laid on the forehead when one is standing. The tissue and the water around the child form very tight buffers. In an injury, amniotic fluid, as an incompressible medium, presses him, for it cannot compress itself. Did the man study pregnancy at all? that's not true. Because if you press on one side of the fluid, it will go through to the other. It'll go somewhere else, like a balloon filled with water. So it wouldn't come straight in and hit the child. At least that's my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I could be wrong. That's kind of what I thought when I was pregnant. The child's situation is far from armored. Mother's act of tying her shoes in the later stages of pregnancy even may be severe on the child. Mother's strain when lifting heavy objects is particularly injurious, and mother's collision with objects like a table edge might well crush a baby's head. The repair facilities of the unborn child, as mentioned elsewhere, are far above anything ever before discovered. The child may have its head crushed, but the blueprint is still there, and the building materials and repair can be made. So it is not a case of the child being all right just because it can live through almost anything. It is a case of whether or not these injuries are going to have high aberrative value as engrams. 50s medicine. Wow. Attempted abortion is very common and remarkably lacking in success. The mother, every time she injures the child in such a fiendish fashion, is actually penalizing herself. Morning sickness is entirely engramic, so far as can be discovered, since clears have not so far experienced it during their own pregnancies, and the act of vomiting because of pregnancy is via contagion of aberrations. Actual illness generally results only when mother has been interfering with the child either by, I can't even say it, stuff. People did not do that often. The way that they tried to self-terminate a pregnancy. I'm not going to read it. Such interference causes the mother to become ill, and from an actual physical standpoint, is much harder on the mother than on the child. Morning sickness evidently gets into a society because of these interferences, such as attempted abortion and, of course, injury. Yeah, that's the whole point. He doesn't get it. I mean, if you fell on your tummy. I mean, I did that. My son was 5 weeks early. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, and it never snows or freezes there, at least up until that. They had a freeze. Everything was iced over, and I fell 3 times on my butt on the ice. And I think that might have been part of the reason he was early. So, I mean, there are things that can happen, but running into a table or pressing on one side, yes, it's supposed to counteract, like I said, a water-filled balloon. And he's not a doctor. Nor did he consult doctors. He did not consult doctors. He is just making all this crap up in his head. Hi, Miss Sunrise. I'm surprised you're... I slept late. Oh, Cricket's here. Hello. All right. So, we're pretty far in. So he's pretty much telling parents, I'll catch you guys up, that childhood illness is all from engrams while the mother was pregnant, and so it teaches parents in Scientology to never take their kids to the doctor, and you can't clear them till they're 5 or 8 years old. So this is why Katie Holmes ran for her life, because her daughter was getting to the age where they were going to start auditing her for engrams and trying to get her clear. Oh, I know, right? So that's pretty much where we are. He just got done telling us that if you're pregnant and you run into a table edge, it will injure the child. He doesn't understand how the fluid helps. And it's very infuriating to us women. When I fell, I didn't even fall on my stomach. I fell on my butt. But I think 3 times in 24 hours I fell. So I must have just jarred everything. All right. The cells know when pregnancy occurs. The reactive mind is acquainted with the fact before the analyzer by process of organic sensation, since the endocrine system is altered. Hence, the mother's discovery of pregnancy has little to do with whether or not she was sick before the discovery. This entire field has been a subject of considerable research in Dianetics. I love when he says that. Oh my gosh. He didn't research anything. Much more research must be done. These conclusions are tentative, but the conclusion that the engram is received and that it is as violent as its content, rather than its actual pain, is a scientific fact, and not in any way a theory. It is It is as real a discovery as gravity. Now he's putting himself in the sciences like it was Newton, right, that discovered the gravity. Jeez. Preventing these engrams is the first consideration. Preventing them from having any content is the second. Women who lead peasant lives doing heavy labor are subject to all manner of accident. Perhaps such accidents cannot be prevented because of the purpose these women serve in the society. But when it is known that an injury to the mother can create an engram in the unborn child, it should be the concern of all those present during such an injury. I'm sorry, guys. It's distracting me. I'll be right back. I'm going. Come on, outside. This is definitely not a professional class on Dianetics. Jumping up, throw the dogs outside. Thank you. I can't do repetitive noises. It's annoying. All right. So I'm glad I have a lot of moms in here today because really, yeah, a lot of people were emotional about that. Huh. I hadn't heard that, but I mean, I can see that things going on around the mom. I mean, if they're like loud arguments and stuff, things like that, a bad environment, and the mom is stressed all the time, I can see that maybe having a little bit of an effect, but not in the way that he is describing. Because they've also said if you play, stimulating music and stuff to the child, it also helps. So, I can understand an environment being a bad environment, but not to the extent that he says. All right. Wow. So I didn't know we were going to go this deep into the pregnancies. Like, see, by 50, He'd had a couple of kids. Well, he had a couple wives by then. I think he's on his second wife. Okay, I'm going to restart this. This entire field has been a subject of considerable research in Dianetics. Oh, wait a minute. That's way before I stopped. All right. So he was talking about women who lead peasant lives. But when it is known that any injury to the mother can create an engram in the unborn child, it should be the concern of all those present during such an injury, including the mother, to maintain a complete and utter silence. Any remark is aberrative in an engram. Even such a statement as, "You can remember this when in Dianetic therapy," made toward an unborn child, installs an engram to that every word in this statement means a physical pain just where he received it at the time and in the future. Dianetic therapy will be restimulative to him. Wow. The doctor punching around to find out if mother is pregnant may say, "Well, it's hard to tell this early." Punching around. The patient in Dianetic therapy years later will return into the vicinity of this incident only to draw a blank until the Dianeticist suddenly guesses the content from how the patient describes his reactions. If the doctor is very tough and says, "You had better take good care of yourself, Mrs. Jones. If you don't, you'll be mighty sick," the child, unconscious from the examination, no matter how mild it is, will get a mild hypochondria when the engram keys in and be very concerned over his health. My gosh. Oh, never mind. I thought you were saying something about somebody saying something to their unborn child. But yeah, I mean, so I wonder if he's going to go into, all right, if everything bad causes an engram in the child, is he going to talk about what good things you can do? I mean, are you just supposed to be completely silent? Like I said, put a pregnant woman in a dark room with nothing in it but a mattress for 9 months? That's I'm curious to see if he goes there. He probably won't. If the husband uses language during intimacy, every word of it is going to be engrammic. If the mother is beaten by him, that beating and everything he says and that she says will become part of the engram. If she does not want the child and he does, the child will later react toward him as an ally and perhaps have a nervous breakdown when the father dies. If she wants the child and he doesn't, the ally computation is reversed. This is true when unaliving the child is threatened or attempted, providing the threat is contained in an engram. This isn't the first chapter that he talked about abortion a lot. I don't know what his hang up is with that. Should the mother be injured and the father be highly solicitous, the engram has this for content and the child has a sympathy engram. The way to survive, then, is to be pathetic when injured and even see to it that one is injured. A woman who is pregnant should be given every consideration by a society which has any feeling for its future generations. If she falls, she should be helped, but silently. She must not be expected to carry heavy things. Well, duh. And she should not have intimacy forced upon her. For every intimate experience is an engram in the child during pregnancy. Oh my gosh. Dude. An astonishing number of pregnancies must take place which are never realized. The violence of intimacy. I'm not reading all of this. Straining bowel movements, falls, and accidents must account for a large number of miscarriages which come about sometime around the first period after conception. For the zygote and embryo forms of the child have a rather frail grip on existence and are very severely injured by things the mother would consider nothing. Once past the first missed period, the chances of miscarry rapidly grow less, and only when the child is a genetic monstrosity, or when unaliving attempts are made, can a miscarriage be expected to take place. The monstrosities are so small a percentage that they are negligible as a possibility. Wow. What a jerk. The amniotic sac can be pierced many times and repeatedly and emptied of all water, and the child can still survive. 20 or 30 attempts are not uncommon in the aborigine. What? This is complete and other. 20 or 30 attempts to end the pregnancy are not uncommon in the aborigine, and in every attempt, the child could have been pierced through the body or brain. Did this guy read one medical book or talk to one OBGYN ever? The child before birth does not depend upon the standard senses for its perceptions. Engrams are not memories, but cellular level recordings. Therefore, the child needs no eardrums to record an engram. Cases are on hand, I would question this, where whatever hearing mechanism the unborn child had must have been temporarily destroyed by an attempt. One of these attempts is what he's saying. I'm not going to keep saying that word. And the engram was still recorded. The cells rebuilt the apparatus, which was to be the source of sound, in the standard banks and stored their own data in the reactive bank. He just completely made that shit up. Completely. I can see why after 3 months, when people got their hands on this book and read it to this point, everybody turned on him. Turned on it. Doctors, psychiatrists, everybody that read this that had any brains whatsoever, like in the scientific field or medical, was like, dude, I'm curious. I keep saying I'm going to do it and then I forget. I want to see how much in this chapter was changed by David Miscavige, because there is no way people today are reading this. Release of such engrams means a restorative of rationality to the individual far above the current norm, and a stability and well-being greater than man ever thought man possessed. These engrams have been confirmed by taking the data from a child, from the mother and the father, and all data checked. So we are dealing here with scientific facts, which, no matter how startling, are nevertheless true. Wow. No, guy. No, you're not. The mother then should be extremely gentle on herself during pregnancy. We already know that, just because. And those around her should be entirely informed of the necessity for silence after any jar or injury, and in view of the fact that it is not possible to tell when a woman has become pregnant and in view also of the high potentiality of aberration in the zygote and embryo engrams, it is obvious that society must better its ways towards women if the future health of the child is to be preserved. Well, I wish people in Scientology would take that to heart. Yeah, just because it has the word science in it doesn't mean that. Hi, Susan. A bunch of people came on. Susan came on. Ooh. Yeah. Just the woman has, to some degree, become considered less valuable in this society than in other societies and times. She is expected to be in competition with men. Such a thing is nonsense. A woman has a plane of activity as man. He cannot compete with her any more than she can compete with him in the fields of structure and vigorous activity. Much of the social maelstrom now in existence has at its hub the failure to recognize the important role of the woman as a woman and the separation of the fields of women and men. The changes which will come about in the next 20 years need no urging here, but with the recent discoveries in photosynthesis, which should secure enough food to feed man better and at less cost, the importance of birth control dwindles. The morality standards have already changed, no matter what moralists do to try to block the change, and women therefore can be freed of many of her undesirable chains. Okay. In the well, yeah, I mean, he puts female children and women to work just as hard as the men in his slave labor camps. Hi, Papa Smurf. In the custody of man is the current world and its activity and structure. In the charge of woman is the care of the person of the human being and his children. Almost sole custodian of tomorrow's generation, she is entitled to much more respect than her chattel period of the past gave her. Chattel means a movable possession as opposed to a house and land. Okay, so she was a possession. It is not then any wild utopian thought that women can be placed above the level hitherto occupied, and so she must be placed if the childhood of tomorrow's generation is to reach any high standard, if homes are to be peaceful and unharassed, and if society is to advance. Preventive Dianetics in the sphere of the home must place emphasis on the woman in order to safeguard the child. I would like to talk to survivors of this cult to see if that's true. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, we said that early on that he was a salesman, because one of the first paragraphs he said, if you go back and you don't have to watch the whole thing, right at the beginning, he says a paragraph that made Dianetics sound so awesome that everybody would want to do it. And then he starts talking about this later. So, dude. Hold on. Yeah. All right. Somebody left a crumb in this book. I'm just going to leave it. As any first step, a mother should be cleared For any mother who attempts an unaliving is of the pregnancy is blocked across the second dynamic, and any block menaces her health as well as her happiness. And antipathy for children has been found to accompany sexual aberration. Prevented, I always say it wrong. Preventive Dianetics, then, on the level of the individual, ask for cleared parents, and then precaution against the aberrating of the child, and further precaution against the keying in of any aberration the child might have received. To do this is very easy. Maintain silence in the presence of injury. Do what has to be done for the injured or ill, and do it in silence. Maintain silence in the presence of birth, and to save both the sanity of the mother and the child, and safeguard the home to which they will go. And the maintaining of silence does not mean a volley of shushes, for those make stammerers. In a wider field, the maintenance of silence around any unconscious or injured person is second in importance only to preventing the unconsciousness in the first place. Say nothing and make no sound around an unconscious or injured person. To speak, no matter what is said, is to threaten his sanity. Say nothing while a person is being operated upon. Say nothing when there is a street accident. Don't talk! Exclamation point. Now, so this is another reason why Scientologists wouldn't want to go to a doctor, because they don't want to have a surgery. They don't want to go to the dentist and be put under, because this is making them scared to death of it. Hey, Papa Smurf. Yeah, I had too much last night on our live stream, and I went right to sleep after. So, this is letting us understand why they're dying of fourth stage cancer. They don't want to go to the doctor. They're scared to death. So they go to Dr. Minkoff that tells them they have Lyme disease and never wants to do any surgeries or fix them. Say nothing around a sick child or an injured child. Smile, appear calm, but say nothing. Actions do not speak louder than words, but actions are all that can be done around the sick and injured, unless one has an active desire to drive them into neurosis or insanity, or at best to give them a future illness. And above all, say nothing around a woman who has been struck or jarred in any way. Help her. If she speaks, don't answer, just help her. You have no idea of whether she is pregnant or not. Also, any woman. Yeah, is that going on in the Sea Org when they're getting punished, or in the RPF? Just curious. And it is a remarkable fact, a scientific fact, that the healthiest children come from the happiest mothers. Birth, for one thing, in a cleared mother is a very mild affair. Only birth engrams in the mother made it hard. A cleared mother needs no anesthetic. And that is well because the anesthetic makes a dazed child, and the engram, when it reacts, makes him appear a dull child. A happy woman has very little trouble, and even a few engrams, which arrive despite all precautions, are nothing if the general tone of the mother is happy. Well, everybody knows that. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, now I understand why they won't get medical care. Because I was yelling at them the other day, why are you not allowed to get medical care? Well, I just got my answer. It's not that they're not allowed, they're scared to death to go get it. Reese was just talking about the other day. I've heard her talk about this a lot, especially with dentistry. How doctors are supposed to be silent when working on a Scientologist, and the weird looks she got from some doctors. Yep. And how Scientologists will go in and get a freaking root canal and no anesthetic. So, all right. So, I'm over here. I need to put my finger on it when I stop. Women, you have a right and a reason to demand good treatment. Oh, that was it. That was the last sentence. Women, you have a right and a reason to demand good treatment. I would like to know how many Scientologist women are treated well. Well, I guess you don't have to treat a Sea Org woman well, because they're going to take you to the clinic if you're not allowed to get pregnant. So they don't care. They're not allowed to have kids, and that's probably why. So they can treat them like crap. I have no words. I said it kind of while we were reading. For those of you that didn't hear the beginning, see if I can find that paragraph I was talking about that I read. It was right at the beginning, and it made it sound so great. So let me read that paragraph real quick for anybody that didn't hear it. So this is the very first paragraph in Preventive Dianetics. There are many branches in Dianetics. It is actually a family of sciences covered by a single set of axioms. There is, for instance, educational Dianetics, which contains the body of organized knowledge necessary to train minds to their optimum efficiency and to an optimum of skill and knowledge in the various branches of the works of man. And there is political Dianetics, which embraces the field of group activity and organization to establish the optimum conditions and processes of leadership and intergroup relations. And again, there is medical Dianetics and there is social Dianetics. There are many such subdivisions which are sciences within themselves, guided by their own axioms. And I asked if I was pronouncing that word correctly. But I mean, that paragraph would make me want to jump in with both feet into this. It sounds awesome. Optimum efficiency, train your minds, and there are many branches in Dianetics. It's a family of sciences covered. He makes it sound like the whole world is doing Dianetics, and it's not just him making it up in this book and throwing it at him. He makes it sound like it's everywhere. And like I said earlier, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, how are you going to go and investigate if it's real or not, or if it's true or not? Unless you're an academic or a journalist, for a regular person, it would be hard to do any research. Like, we can just Google now and find out that he was a quack, and 3 months after he started Dianetics, it failed miserably because doctors and psychiatrists and pretty much anybody read it and knew it was complete dookie. So, did I miss anything? It looked like you guys were talking to each other. But yeah, same thing. Same thing as this. Yeah, he was a great salesman, and he started these Dianetic centers all over the world. Or not the world. Well, I think at the time it was all over America. At the same time he released the book, he got people to give him money to start it. He had a psychiatrist, I can't remember his name, sign off on the book. Does he still have it on there? I bet he didn't. Let me look at oh, here we go. Oh, first page. Let's look at that. This is the most complete, accurate, and life-changing book that I have ever read on the subject of the mind. Read this book from cover to cover, and your life will never be the same. Dr. David Singer, President, Singer Consultants. Don't think he's a medical doctor. That's probably a different kind. Dianetics enabled me to realize my potentials and find the success I had always sought. I see it as the best investment I've ever made, an investment in myself. Ken Gerbino, one of the country's top 10 investment counselors. Who cares? I just want to, okay, that's a dancer, advertising exec. But that first one has doctor in front of it, but he's president of Singer Consultants. I don't think he's a medical doctor. But originally he had a doctor, either a doctor or a psychiatrist, I can't remember which, that helped him publish this book. And do you know what made it really fail? I think he was in a lecture. I can't remember how many people there. It was a lot. And he was going to prove how Dianetics could give you a photographic memory, that it could optimize your memory and you could remember things. And then she brings up a woman and she can't even remember the color of his tie. And everybody got up and walked out. And that's when it really failed. That got out and there were articles and people were just, this is bullcrap. So then he took a hiatus, and then he lost the rights to the book because the people that gave him money to publish it sued or something, got the rights to Dianetics, wouldn't let him have it. That's why he had to start Scientology. Not because he wanted to, he had to. He had no choice. He eventually got the rights back. So he just took it to a whole nother level, like Aaron says, in the Scientology. If they hadn't have taken the rights away, there's a very good chance he would have just stuck with Dianetics. And maybe it wouldn't have become as weird or strange or different than it was. He could have stuck with what this was and maybe just stayed with that. Yep. That's strange, isn't it, that those without a uterus seems to be an expert on the inner workings of us women. Exactly. I think if he was an expert on women, he wouldn't have had several wives. And isn't there a course in Scientology for marriage too? Oh, I think this one hurt my head a lot. Ooh, hey Diana. He pretty much spent the whole chapter telling us it's the mother's fault when pregnant that children have problems. Here I am to wreak the day. Or wreck. So, if you just go back and listen to the first few minutes, that one paragraph said it all. He made it sound so great. And yeah, this was all about being pregnant and all the things that you do to injure your child, and that you have to be silent about women, and women should be treated well, just in case they're pregnant, he said. And I'm like, yeah, are they really doing that in Scientology? Don't think so. Oh my gosh. So that was just one we had to get through to understand the inner workings of LRH's craziness. And it really told us and explained why people are deathly afraid in Scientology to go to a doctor. He makes them fear it. So that's why they don't. It's not that they're not allowed medical care. There are two things. One, he makes them deathly afraid of going to the doctor. And two, because if you're a clear in Scientology, you're not allowed to have pain or illness because those are caused by engrams, and you're clear. You can control those things. So you can't tell anybody that you're in pain or that you have a heart problem or that your leg hurts or, if you slip a disc in your back. That shouldn't happen to a clear because a clear can control their environment. Remember, I've said this a lot because I did it on purpose. Oh no, Nora, I asked her, how did you rationalize being clear and still needing glasses? Because he specifically says your eyesight will get better. And she said, I didn't wear glasses for 4 years. I'm like, so you're just, because I'll be honest, I didn't need glasses till I got fibromyalgia. I was fine. Now, without glasses, I can't even see the freckles on my hands without my glasses, or even the wrinkles. I can see the hands, but I can't see the details on my hands. So I couldn't imagine, and I can see far away, thank God, but I'd never be able to read anything. I can't read the chat right now without glasses. So how are you supposed to do work in Scientology 16 hours a day, and it's all paperwork, and go without your glasses? Papa, are you causing a stir again? Are you in here instigating? Wow. That was a short one. Well, not really. It was a little over an hour. But I stopped and talked a lot. Sorry. Moi? Yes. Moi? Oh, no, I know. So before, when I was younger, I could sing. I was in choir. We went to competitions. They always wanted me to do solos, but I was too scared. But I've had so many tonsil and throat infections and sinus problems. Now I can't sing. I bellow. I don't sing. It really sucks. And I had a high voice, and then when I do sing, I have to sing low now. They have points. They are horns. Papa always instigates. I think he tries really hard. You guys, I swear. So since we don't really have much else to talk about that thing, uh, I'm a good singer, and Infant Fish is a good song for it. Okay, I don't know that song. But I listened to AA Ron the last couple times about this Emily and Lincoln Park debacle. And I was in the chat a bit today, before I had to leave. And I saw some people in there that haven't watched everything that was said. I don't know how that happens. Oh, baby shark. Oh my God. Don't get that in my head. Don't you dare. You would know it if you heard it. Oh, I get it. I can give you one if you want, Miss Sunrise. I'm pretty, for people that are here all the time. But, so, anybody watching on the replay, we're just going to chat now. You don't have to stick around. But I just thought I had opinions. I can't sing a note, but I'm distant cousin Eliza Minnelli. Just shows that not all the good genes get parceled to everybody. Let's pick a topic. Sure, go ahead. I'm bored again. I did 3.5 hours last night, and I'm still sitting here wanting to chat. But I'm gonna try this week. If Osa's watching, then they'll know, but I don't care. I've been wanting to try to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. Because Saturday night I have my late stream, and Sunday I have Dianetics. And I was gonna do that last week, but we had storms, so you never know what's gonna get in the way. So I did Wednesday and Friday because I'm trying to cover Friday night graduation until Self with Self and Pearl Snappy can come back. If they come back, I'll either still do it because I do like doing it. We see a lot more public on Friday nights. I never really realized that before. So I can talk to a lot of public that might already be under the radar or in a place that maybe they don't want to do it anymore. So, what's everyone cooking for supper? That's a good question. So I get Factor meals delivered. We didn't get any last week. We'll get them tomorrow, I think. So we're out of those. And has anyone heard of Daily Harvest? I love Daily Harvest, but I only get it every once in a while. There's no meat in it, and it's so healthy. You can get smoothies. It's all frozen and comes in dry ice. I just got my box yesterday. Or no, this is Sunday. I got it Friday. Sorry, you guys. I threw my tissue box at the dog, near the dog, to get him to stop, and now I don't have my tissues. So, what was I getting at? Oh, there's a pasta meal in there that can feed 2 people, and you just put it in the microwave. It's awesome because it all comes frozen. The factory meals come fresh, but pre-cooked. Anyway, I buy diced chicken, frozen chicken, because my husband's not a vegetarian. Neither am I. I just like to not eat meat sometimes. And I just throw some frozen diced chicken in it, and it's awesome. And the smoothies, people think they're expensive. But when you look at the ingredients that are in them, because they're frozen and you just add your liquid, I add almond milk and a little bit of honey, and that's it, and some protein powder. That if I were to go buy all of those frozen fruit and everything that's in it and herbs and everything, it would be expensive. Frozen fruit and stuff can be expensive. So in the long run, and the cup that it comes in has a straw hole, so you don't even need to dirty a cup. So if anybody's interested, I do get a kickback, I think, but I'm just talking about it. I've done almost every meal plan in existence. If you want to know about one, I tried doing the ones early on. I mean, years ago when they were kind of new that you had to cook yourself. But I was in worse health than I am now, and I was throwing all the vegetables away because I wasn't getting to them in time. So then I went to the pre-made meals. We did Freshly for like 2 years, and then COVID hit, the lockdowns hit, and they kind of went downhill. Then we did the one that's, I see the commercial a lot right now. It starts with a C, that these gourmet chefs did, not Community. I always get it wrong. But they were good. They were very meat centric. They hardly had any vegetables. Then I tried metabolic meals. Didn't like them. They had issues. Ended up with Factor. We've been with Factor for a long time. We get 6 meals a week. And what's nice about that is, and another reason we did this is we're on different schedules. So my husband gets up at 8 o'clock at the night. He's going to eat dinner at work at 3 in the morning. So he can take a Factor meal with him. And then I can eat when I feel like it. And I do eat a lot better because when I don't have those Factor meals ready to go, I snack and eat junk food. So. Oh, so why are they after you on Reddit, Papa Smurf? I know that you're Reddit famous. Oh wait, wrong one. Oh, I do a little bit, but not a lot. It's a cesspit. I know. Yeah. The only Reddit, I didn't even understand how it worked. I would look something up and there might be an answer in Reddit. That's all I've ever done. When I heard about Discord, I really wasn't interested. But then I heard there was a Discord for SBTV, and Aaron said it was a hateful cesspool, and I never want anything to do with it. I don't want it. I don't like the drama at all, anywhere. Don't want nothing to do with it. Lasagna. Ugh. Yeah. Because I deleted a comment on the live chat. I'm Mom, Kim, Cricket, and Diana. Yeah, and yeah, you're not a mod right now. I don't know how to fix that in here. Next live stream, I'll fix it on YouTube. People just are angry individuals. People that say things like that have their own issues. California chicken on a bed of rice. What's California chicken? Sounds good. You know what I might do? I made stir fry a couple nights ago. I love making stir fry. And I'm lazy. I love chopping stuff up, but I go to the store and I buy the fresh pre-cut vegetables a lot of times. But and then I just add the frozen diced chicken to it. So I love to make stir fry. It's easy. I love vegetables now. I wish I would have been vegetable like this when my kids were little. I didn't make them eat good. Not angry, am happy. Yeah. Oh, geez. Papa Smurf, you've been through it. Been catfish, hacked, cloned, and trolled for 23 years. Whew. Yeah. And there's been times I forgot to put the chicken in the stir fry and we ate it anyway. I used to have my own sauce that I would make, but I found a really good one I like at the store, so I just do that now. I'm with my health, there are times where, I'm in Austin like all day some days. I don't want to come home and cook. So we're getting back on the factor meals, and then I try to cook. I usually try to cook on his days off, or he'll cook. Sometimes he'll cook. Grilled with avocado and pico baked on top. Ooh. You know what? I might do some chicken and rice in the pressure cooker because I have frozen chicken. I just throw it in there with some chicken broth and spices. All because I say what I want and because I don't agree with people. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. Having chocolate chip muffins and lemonade because I'm a 61-year-old child. I'm lucky. My husband, where he works, there's a bakery. And when they have cupcakes too long, they literally got the other night a tray, probably bigger than that, and with a lid on it that they brought over to their office and let them take. So it takes me all day to eat one cupcake. I can't do a lot of sugar. I literally will just do drive-bys. I'll take a bite and then later on I'll take another bite. But I'll show you. I have to show you this cupcake. You will never believe me if I don't. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm glad you guys are my regulars and are used to me doing this. All right. Oh my goodness. I literally take the icing off. This is it. Look at the icing. You can literally take it off. This is the icing. And then I just eat this. And everybody that I know of takes this icing because look at this. It's as big as the cupcake. Nobody can eat that. So I'll put this in like a bowl and take the icing off. But yeah, that's ridiculous. And then for my grandkids, when I was bedridden for those 5 years, just to do something with them. Plus, it's so hot in Texas for like 6 straight months. You don't want to turn on the oven. So I bought a cupcake maker, and that's all it does. It was like $20 or under $20, I think. And you literally just put the papers in, put your cupcake mix or muffin mix in there, close it. There's not even an on or off button. It's plug in or not. Makes great muffins and cupcakes. Yeah, too much. So it'll take me all day to eat this cupcake. I'll eat a bite here and there. I can't if I ate the whole thing, I'd get sick. I've never had a sweet tooth. Yeah, hate the icing, love the cake part. But this icing, did you see how thick it is though? I can literally hold it. And people on Saturdays at this place, the line will literally be around the corner. It's an hour wait to get into this bakery. It's famous. So I feel kind of privileged. So he brings a few home. We don't bring a lot home. He's the sugar eater. I'm not. That man could eat straight sugar. Yeah, I'd rather have a bowl of soup than ice cream. I've always been like that. And then he, like, is a chocoholic. He's addicted. If I tend to on purpose not buy a lot of chocolate. Because if I buy one of those big bags of mini Reese cups, they'll be gone in 2 or 3 days. He'll eat that instead of food. I love icing. It is good icing. I'll be honest, my favorite icing from this bakery is the lemon. And I'll eat a little, and there's a pink cupcake underneath. I have no idea what it is, but that's my favorite cupcake. It's pink with lemon icing. I'll eat that icing, but just not like a big bite of it. Could you imagine a bite of that icing with a bite of this cake? You couldn't even get it in your mouth. It's amazing. Chips and queso. Oh, yeah. Yep. So, like I said, though, if you have any questions, I've done all, like, the Blue Apron, the HelloFresh, every one something plate. I've done all of them. And I have my favorites. Blue Apron is the most expensive, and it wasn't worth it. Stop briefly. Now I want some junk food. I'm sorry. I'd give you a cupcake if I could. And then what usually happens is if there's a lot left, there's one guy that he'll take him to his church. I could live on sugar. So could my husband. Yep, he's definitely like that. I got rid of my tissues. I should have grabbed them when I got up. I took my Zyrtec today. But my husband said the pollen has been high. And oh my gosh. So you guys have been watching me. So you know how freaking hot it gets here in Texas. And normally we don't cool off until like Halloween. So after my live stream last night, it was like something a.m. And I let the dogs out and I stepped out on the porch. It was freezing. It was 63 degrees. But to me, it was freezing. So that's been 2 nights in a row my air conditioner went off. I'm like, awesome. Yep. It's getting me too. So it takes a lot to get to me now because I had the serum shots. I used to be so bad I couldn't see. My husband's getting that way. I think you missed this. I rode mower up to my highest hill and mowed a lot. My siblings and I are going to bury my parent ashes on Saturday. Oh, well, I mean, it's sad that they passed, but that sounds very, very nice that you can do that. My dad's right there. And my puppy is in there. But the rest of our pets, they've all been small, so they're on our property. My granddad took 8 sugars in his tea. He lived till 89 and had only just been diagnosed with diabetes. I know. I tell my husband all the time he's going to get diabetes. I'm loving the cooler nights. I know. I'm going to have to drag a chair out there or buy a hanging chair so I can sit on the porch. Because literally it'll only be like that for a few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, probably a month. And then it's winter. We literally go summer, winter. There's hardly any time to sit outside in between. No, they've been gone. I've just had a hard time. Now I'm ready to close. Yeah, I can understand that. I didn't know. My dad knew he was dying and came to visit along for like 6 weeks. And he told me a story. Like he was going to go find a new job somewhere else, and why he was packed up. So he didn't tell me. My other granddad wasn't the man my gran was married to. All the secrets are coming out thanks to Ancestry. Whoo! I did my Ancestry test too. But I know my mom's side of the family way back, like 20 or 30, like 30 years ago. Somebody in that family wrote or published a book about the family and did all this research. This was before the internet. And like you could buy it from them. And at my mom's funeral, I was talking to them, and I've lost touch with everybody on that side of the family. So I never got the book. Anyway, there were some doozies in there. Like they found out their dad was married before their mom, and nobody knew. Mom didn't. Nobody knew. And there was a death in the family that was questionable. Things are getting good past the popcorn. Oh, Lori, Ancestry sure does blow all the secrets out. Now, it hasn't really lined me up with other relatives, so I don't think other relatives has actually done the actual DNA test. So nothing like that's come out, but I didn't know my mom's dad or anybody on his side of the family. All I had was her birth certificate, his name, address, and his age, not birth date, and his occupation. And that's all I had to go by. Well, I signed up. I did my DNA test last year, and I was able to find him, not through the test, just by looking. And that family I contacted, yeah, they're relatives, but I told her I really wasn't worried about meeting up. But they had a question on when he married the wife after my grandmother, because he wasn't around. My mom met him one time. So she was born, he left. He was in World War II. And so I could tell them for sure it was the second date, because the first date, I found my grandfather's draft card, and my grandmother was listed as his next of kin during that time. So that's all I know. But my grandmother's side of the family, I used to hang around him a lot as a kid, but I know nothing about him. So, but my dad's side of the family, my grandmother gave me extensive notes on at least my 3 generations. But my DNA test was a shocker. I always thought we might be German because of my maiden name. Come to find out, I'm 46% Scottish. Nobody in my ancestry I have done so far is Scottish. So I've got to figure out where the heck that comes from. Oh, yeah. See, we're not. I think my daughter had them for many years, but when she moved, it's very heavy. It's marble. So, she gave them back. So we're just. I need to get a plaque made. I've been waiting because I want to find out his actual. He was in the Marines in World War II, and I want to know his actual rank. I don't have that. I want to put that on there. But he did, because he knew he was dying. He said to me he didn't want to be under the ground. That's all he told me. So I'm just going to keep him just right like that. He was the one I told you guys that manhandled Johnny Cash, because Johnny Cash was drunk and acting a fool. And my dad was a security guard at a hotel in New Orleans, one street over from Bourbon Street. And so my dad worked there in like the 80s and 90s. I wasn't Welsh. I was 46. Well, and if you did it through Ancestry, it may change. So between the time I did it and I checked recently, it changed because they said as their technology gets better, they'll retest. So originally I was like 36% Scottish, 30 something percent English, and then Irish and some other stuff. Then it's changed and went up to 46% Scottish, like 38% English, and then Belgium, Denmark, because my great grandmother was Irish, so I knew we were Irish. But the Scottish had no clue. No clue at all. Let me look at a map. Like I always get the smaller. Anyway, my husband is Cherokee Indian, which makes an Irish, which makes my kids Indian, which I said, okay, that makes me the minority in the family because I knew I was going to be the most Anglo-Saxon person you ever did meet because I'm just so pale and I burn and I could just tell. Okay, so little part of Belgium, uh, I think it was Denmark and the Netherlands. So, and all of my family is from the Indiana, Ohio area from as far back as I've checked. So, now my husband's family, his dad was one of 14 kids. So he had 13 aunts and uncles. Um, they were the Cherokee Indians in the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia that didn't go on the Trail of Tears. I think that was to Oklahoma. They hid in the mountains, so they were still there. So that's why he has so much family. Oh, you didn't hear that story? So, hold on. You're gonna have to look away. You're about to see my big booty. Let me grab it real quick. Oh, oh, I can't. It's too far. It's too far away. I have that's a book with his picture there when he was a security guard. So anyway, um, he was just doing his job, and Johnny Cash was drunk and acting a fool, and he was telling me about it. My dad was very no nonsense. He wasn't a bragger or anything like that. So he's just saying it matter of factly. He's like, "Yeah, I threw Johnny Cash up against the wall." And I go, "Why?" He's like, "He was drunk," and I said, "Did you get fired?" And he's like, "No, I was right and he was wrong." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, my dad manhandled Johnny Cash. I did Ancestry and 23andMe. I'm probably going to do the 23andMe too. So my husband bought me this one DNA test I'd never heard of a few years ago for, I think, Christmas or something. And I did it, but it was one that went back 50 generations. So you go back 50 generations and you're going to be just about everything. And it was cool. And they tell you the celebrity that you're related to. I don't know how distantly, but I had more South American type DNA in that one. And my celebrity relative is Eva Longoria, which I like her. But it didn't tell me the more recent. I wanted to know the more recent and, where I could start my search. So I did ancestry.com last year, and that's where I've gotten a good amount of history done. My cousin's helping. We were talking on the phone the other day when we hadn't talked in years. So we talked for like 3 hours because we were trying to figure out my grandpa's. He got a Purple Heart in World War II. We were trying to figure out why or where. And so that was pretty cool. But I was young when my great grandmother passed and I didn't talk to her. I didn't know any better. And I regret it so much not getting the stories. And my grandma, she didn't tell a lot of stories. She didn't talk much. She was born in 21, so she had to live as a kid through the Depression. Does HelloFresh. HelloFresh was good. I like that. That was one of my favorites. Oh, I'm back too far. It stopped moving. All right, let me do this. Let me go backwards. I think I missed quite a bit. My daughter wants so she can spread my ashes. Oh, okay. My caretaker, she was 63 when she started with me in 2010, 11. I hired her out of the newspaper, just somebody to be an assistant, and she didn't really have to do a lot. My mom's paternal side is huge. I'm probably related to most of you, Lori. My ancestors signed the treaty that caused the Trail of Tears and were unalive for it. Wow. That's terrible. You guys might be related to my husband. Wow. I don't know much about that. I'll look into that. That's actually not too hard, Cricket, from what I hear. Oh no, was it Attila the Hun? Or was it the other one? But that's cool. That is cool. Okay, Lori. Yeah, if you go back 1,000 years, most European people share some history. Yeah. Yeah. Now I've done like a preliminary where I just followed things back and looked at dates and said, okay, this is the most likely. But then you have to go and you have to do the work to make sure that it's real to actually put it in. So I found some royalty. I think in France or Belgium, and there was a guy, I think in the Civil War, the Revolutionary, where his nickname was Pancake, and I might be related to him, but I've got to do like the actual. Ooh, oh yeah, I've heard that too. I've watched those shows where they have celebrities do their background. That was fun to watch. Totally fun. But the only my husband did have a cousin that did all the family history like 20 years ago, before the internet. She was going to the family history centers and doing all the work, and she's got a binder, but I'm waiting. She's put it online, but I can't. She hasn't put it in Ancestry that I know of. I've asked to see if we could marry up the family lines. So I don't know if she published like a website, and I went to it once and I couldn't understand any of it. I just couldn't understand it. They may understand it more because they're there and talking and part of it, but I didn't. But she traced his family back to the Ireland in the 1700s. He also found out that he was German. He was part, because he was in the army for 21 years, and when you go in the 80s, you're very patriotic. So and so it was a little sad to hear it, but the German conscripts that fought on the opposing side of the Revolutionary War, that they forced to come here and fight. When the war was over, George Washington offered them to stay, and they did. And so that's also part of his history. The title of said book is Cherokee Tragedy, the Ridge Family. Let me write that down. I'm going to check it out. Because he's not interested, but I am for my kids. So I would like to find out, like, I've never heard anybody talk about like their tribe or anything like that. But I would like to know more for the kids. As much history as I've read and watched, this one I don't remember knowing about the Ridge family. Oh, I hope things go well, Diana. My iron has been low my whole life. I can't give blood. So, yeah, I know what that feels like. Thurman Wilkins. If it's on Kindle, it might be. You never know. Sometimes I can read stuff for free. I need to go. Okay. Bye, Susan. I'm just chatting. There's 15 of you here. I know people are interested in these meal. I'll be. This is what I tell people about getting the pre-made meal sent or the meal um, boxes or whatever. If, especially like the ones I get, the factor meals that are fresh, they last a week. They're pre-cooked. You can put them in the microwave. Um, they run about $10.99, $11 a meal. But if I were to go back out and buy all the ingredients for the different meals that we get, it would be a lot. And I get grocery delivery on Walmart, and I wanted to do a chicken dinner, just a plain regular old chicken dinner. And when I was done, all the ingredients cost $40 for a meal. So in the long run, especially with costs right now, it works out okay, to be honest. Um, isn't that cute? Susan thinks I'm a real mod. Yeah, some people don't know. It's okay. I don't really need one. Even when I went vertical, I'm glad I did because I try to do it once a week, but I kind of didn't have a choice. But it wasn't too bad. I don't get too many. We get a few, but Major Ridge's house is a museum not too far from here. We went there once, and the lady said there were no Ridge men left. Mom offered to call her brother or one of her 4 nephews for her. That's good. I like that. Yeah. This cupcake is sitting in front of me. I will, Miss Sunrise. I don't know how to do it on StreamYard. I don't need a mod. My chat's also. Sorry. Ooh, that's a weird flavor. That's not just white cake. That's a weird flavor. It's kind of brown. I know that. Pumpkin? It's spicy. It's got a spice in it. Not pumpkin. What is that flavor? I don't know what that is. I can't think of it. I'll see if I can find their website and their cupcakes. I know what it is. I don't even know what I'm eating. But that's neat. I don't have like any cool family history yet. I'm still looking. I might have some I've looked at are kind of cool, but I can't prove it yet. One of said nephews is technically adopted, but he could still carry on the name, so it counts. Yep. They said in my husband's family, um, the Indian there was a relative that married into the family, but I guess wasn't blood related, and I don't remember the story. According to Papa Smurf, you're going to be on Reddit for deleting a comment. Uh-oh. I'm going to go. Everybody seems to be dropping off a little bit. So, but it was fun. I think I might change the title of this for future people and put prevented Dianetics. See if I can find something. Or in the description. Talking about pregnant women and silent births, and I'll put it in the description. Because preventive Dianetics does not cover what we just read. So hopefully, guys, I'll be out tomorrow. As long as we don't have a thunderstorm. So I'll be out and about. Y'all have a good week. If I don't see you till next Dianetics. Bye, Miss Sunrise. Bye, y'all. I'll see you later.